No sooner had we braked for lunch that the heavens opened, clouds snuck in, and just, you see it right now. It's going to be a wet start, been declared wet tyre start. Gasho on pole, having been P10 in the race, that snuck under the radar because we're too busy mentioning every single championship title claimed in the last race there. Ingram alongside, having had a good battle with Gasho. All things considered, Gasho going off helped him get P10 somehow. Read that what you will. ILO 8th P3. Wittmann with the win P10 and everyone else in between swap places too. Reverse grid time. Some minor news to confirm. You did mention that DHL were putting an extra driver in the second DHL Alpha. That too has been declared with about 15 minutes before the start of the race there, Swenny.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I thought it was just a rumble and a rumour, and then they just came out and said it. So yeah, we're going to have our first Kiwi enter the sport with Liam Hartley driving the second DHL Alpha. So it wouldn't surprise me if they end up being back-to-back privateer winners, because Dumas has already proved how fast he is. The team we already know how fast they are. They were the ones that propelled Jamie Webber to the forefront. And we know that Alfa Romeo is quick. So they've got all the pieces there. Adding a second car just means double the points, really.
And therefore, 4 Alpha threats for Season 5. And a very good title defence for Sabine Wittmann to have. And it's just going to be, the party continues even if the rain shouldn't dampen that particular parade. Let's see what happens though. Will the spray blind everyone further back from Gasho and Ingram on down? Will the front wheel drives be affected? There we go. Dumas already lightning bolt. Webber just as quick on the reflexes, and we're blinded already. We can see Dumas leading. We can see the Renaults there. We see a dive bomb from Ingram, nudging Webber into P2, but that's not going to help the radiator on Ingram's Volvo there. And in the weather like this, we have seen accidents on the exit of Daiichi. Or into Coca-Cola, perhaps. Dumas still leads, and there was almost a 3-1 down the inside dive bomb, perhaps, but they're still safe. Surprise, surprise there. Ingram around the outside. Are you kidding me? Up to second, up to the lead. Are you kidding me? Into the hairpin. Ingram. Oh! Dumas kind of want the defender, and Ingram. Okay, this might warrant a word from the stewards, but Ingram has taken the lead. Entertainment here, race 2, the sprint race, the reverse grid, and the BMW's already 3 and 4. Gasho down to 5th. Dunlop.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting fireworks, and we've got some fireworks already. Ingram showing how good he is in the wet, showing that there can be grip found around the outside, taking a wet line round the corner. A little bit of argy-bargy with the Alfa Romeo, but that's just touring car racing, isn't it?
He must have found that test in the Mitsubishi.
Potentially, yes.
And it's still 2x2 further back through the technical section to complete the lap. Final hairpin. Lap 1 almost complete. Wickens up to 10th. Kubica up to 8th. Wickens back down to 11th. Fisichella. Yeah, remember about the midfield sort of cowardice, so to speak, of Alpha. Oh, hang on. Kubica with a bit of a
questionable move by Fisichella.
There goes Ekstrom. Volvo power in the rain. That's that off-road experience.
Fisichella, that could go badly for you.
And it could go badly for Ekstrom as well. And there goes,
Suarez,
not
where are
one
you going?
Volkswagen, but also Suarez. Oh dear, oh dear.
Now you can tell who had aggressive dry setups on. Now Gasho is in the lead. How did that happen?
Well, okay. And then Ingram falling back to 3rd.
Dumas down to 5th. Everybody's going all over the place. Everybody is being a yo-yo.
I think we need to keep an eye on this sort of front to mid pack then. Ingram again, not
different line into the hairpin.
Yep.
It's currently not raining, so the track is drying up. You can start to see a slightly less wet line, I'll call it, forming in that darker strip of tarmac.
In
Ingram
down the
going for a
inside,
dive
but
bomb,
that's
not
going to be a
quite
switchback.
enough. Yeah, loses an extra place for the trouble of it.
I
A
wonder
for
if there's
effort,
actually a
C
gamble
for...
on dry tyres here.
I think everybody's on intermediates currently. Yeah, you can see the tread there on the rear wheels. But Ingram is starting to lose grip in the front end by the looks of things.
So we've seen it happen before. When the track gets dry, you'll see them dive. Almost every single one of them will dive for the pit lane. Unless we've seen a strategy call happen before, but it's just backfired as soon as everyone else is on the dries. That it's not an ideal thing to stay out on the wet tyres if everyone is making their way for slicks. It happened at the Nürburgring as well. Here comes Thompson on the inside of a Wittmann. Crown in hand. Title decided. Put on a show for the fans in the Fuji stands.
Yeah, you can tell the first half of the straight is till... Whoa, Whitman, what a move!
Around the outside of Aiello.
Yeah, people have
down
got
to
different
7th.
amounts of confidence levels at that hairpin, it seems. Some people are being a lot more timid and conservative and getting on the brakes a lot more, whereas some people are happy to carry the speed round as though it's a dry track. And it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing people pitting this lap time because there is no spray coming out the back of the cars. Therefore, in theory, the track is dry enough, as we see Schneider make a move on Dumas, shoves him out to the wet part of the circuit, spreads that water out a little bit more.
It is not hanging around, but I'm still going to be keeping tabs on that radar, as I have done for both the Japanese races yesterday and the race earlier. Yep, you can see some sunshine.
Aiello having a go at Whitman again, trying to get back at him.
And back at her he does get.
The, as you quite rightly named her in race 1, the Green Goddess.
Why did we not think of that sooner? She's won a championship before, of course she has.
And the part of Germany she's from is not a million miles away from the Nürburgring. So she knows that track incredibly well. Spent a lot of her youth driving around it in various random cars, from VW Corrados to BMW M3s, to more silly stuff like a Renault Kangoo van, apparently, at one point.
I'm surprised no one's made a beeline for the pit lane this early. Almost like a reverse strategy call. We are getting some sunset here as well.
Oh, more scrabbling at the hairpin. Aiello now up to 5th, Ingram down to 6th.
Whitman's already there.
Sneaks through. Ekstrom might come up to overtake his teammate now.
Ingram down the inside of Coca-Cola, maybe not. Brave, Lammers and Thompson behind these two Volvos as well. Fisichella still struggling to get into the top 10 after finishing in the top 10 earlier on.
Kubica hanging tough around the outside there. If he can make that stick, he'll have the preferred line for the hairpin. Make a showing out of the privateer unit there.
And the 51.3 from Webber is going to tumble. Someone else is definitely going to nab that once these tyres are changed midway through this race. It's I'll be surprised if it doesn't happen this lap. We've got a straggler further back, but for the time being, let's look at Thompson and Ekstrom battling through Dunlop.
Side by side the whole way around the chicane. Lots of curb taken, a bit of grass, a bit of rally crossing. That's okay, these tyres have tread. Further up, Dumas on Aiello. So Aiello being a bit of a yo-yo as well.
Gashaw still leads, Webber second, Schneider third.
Okay, into the pits
called
they
it.
go.
Here they come. The pit lane is going to get incredibly busy.
Literally everybody.
Exactly. We've seen this happen so many times in the Worlds before. It wasn't full wets either. Sensible choice, really. Palou was the straggler there.
I believe Ford have spent, or their pun not intended, but pun intended, their focus over the last couple of weekends has been how do we make that car better for next year and working on upgrades and so on and so forth. So maybe we'll see something a bit more from Ford next year, or maybe whatever they're working on, whatever experiments they've got going on will backfire and they will continue to be where they are. But I know they're
And
trying at
therefore,
least.
as you saw them go in, there was no major change on the exit. It's Gasho, Weber, gap to Schneider, and Aiello, slight gap to Duma, but Ingram has perhaps fallen back a little bit more.
If anything, I think he's made up a spot, because I think he was behind Whitman when he came into the pits.
Yep, you're right.
So the Volvo mechanic's doing well there. Aiello now looking aggressive on the back of Schneider. This is not what she wants, because I'm sure she's going to be somewhat miffed that she's gone through a whole season and not managed to win a race. So she'll definitely want to pick this one up as a last hurrah in Season 4 before having another crack at Season 5.
Yeah, BMW's standout performances behind the Alphas still hasn't put a dent in Renault, finishing second in the Manufacturer Championship. Renault hang on to that for so long, but Alpha just got their consistency since the start of the season. Renault just capitulated. Speaking of capitulation, we hope that Ford keep true to their word, and it should be hopefully a better season for them. Season 5, otherwise God knows what's going to happen. Here on board with Ekstrom, about to outpace Thompson, teammate Ingram in the slipstream.
He doesn't even need it. I think Ingram got a really bad exit of the last corner there, which has allowed Ekstrom to have this huge run of momentum. Who's going to be more brave on the brakes?
It's still going to be damp offline and on curbs as well with these slick tyres. There goes Ekstrom ahead of Ingram. Okay. Almost into the Armco. Well held by Ingram. We didn't see him shake a fist at Nicky Lammers. Might have been a may or may not want a word later, but given that was the exit of Daiichi, maybe he'll forgive him for that one.
I think Ingram just didn't realise the Honda was there.
Maybe that's not. A bit more. Maybe not. Okay, there will be words. There will be words. As Lammers is ahead of Ingram now on sheer grunt, if not a little unfair.
Yeah, that was a bit of a send on the hairpin. Ingram now back in front. I'm wondering if the car setup they've got on for Anthony Ingram is a very aggressive, sort of straight line speed focused dry setup, which is why he's really struggling in these damp conditions. Lap 1 heroics notwithstanding, of course, but he has been very noticeably weak going into heavy braking zones and getting the power down. So the car, I think, is just struggling for grip and struggling to get slowed down, which is what's caused him to go down the order pretty quickly after his second position starting spot this race. And now he's got a huge train of cars behind him.
An entertaining mid-pack for the second half of the race, as Aiello's just hit the time of being out of 48.6, but what's going to happen further back with the slipstream?
3 wide apparently.
Down the inside goes Ekstrom on Wittmann, but Ekstrom fends it off. Duma trying to get that back.
Duma was in front of both of them. They both slipstreamed past the Privateer Alpha. Ekstrom was trying to go for a 2-for-1 deal there, but didn't quite get all of it, but got some of it.
Volvo's most tried and tested racing employee there, Ekstrom. The rookie badge was just decoration.
Yeah, he's absolutely sewn up the Rookie of the Year honours.
Whoop! Wide
very
goes
wide
Ingram.
line for Ingram. I think that was deliberate, using all of the track there, trying to get a little bit of a gap between him and the Hondas. Sort of worked.
And we're seeing some repetition of race 1, reverse grid or not. The front 5, front 4, separated, then the mid-pack.
Yeah, just instead of Honda, it's Renault as the front-wheel drive joker in amongst the rear-wheel drives, and one of the rear-wheel drive staples is still struggling in the back half of the top 10 there, with Fisichella just once again showing up the one weakness in Alfa Romeo's armour, is that they don't like traffic. Meanwhile, Gasho comfortably pulling away from the two Beamers, who are in danger of having their own little civil war, with Aiello being the interference. There he goes.
Bringing a bit of cordial to proceeding by getting onto the podium with the second, or this is the final third of the race almost, if the math's right. Yeah, we're into the second half at least. Aiello getting under the 48s, 47.954 then, with that slipstream from BMW. Obviously the Renault power can help. It's just too little too late.
The other thing that's helping, of course, is these are fresh tyres. Instead of the race 1 tyres being the tyres they also qualified on, so they already start with a little bit of wear on them.
Oh, and there's that wobble on we've seen, almost like an unnecessary signature.
From McGann, yes. So, top 4 in a nice, neat pattern right now. Renault, BMW, though Aiello looks like he's going to change that pattern around. Up the inside, can he make it stick? Very nearly. Job done. Renault, BMW.
Well then, this is a slight turn up.
This is a nice throwback to the start of the season almost, with the two Renaults just being by far and away the quickest cars of the field. They're not quite at the untouchable level that they were at the beginning of the season, seeing as Webber and Schneider are still there, and if they choose not to fight each other, could definitely take the fight to the Renaults in front of them. But this is, at the very least, a good send-off for these two drivers, who of course are retiring at the end of this season. They're retiring together. They always said they would. They are good friends on and off track, have always worked well with one another. And apparently they look forward to doing slightly less serious historic racing, which we may end up seeing them appear in from time to time.
We've had a good chat or two with them in a few good words past.
They've been around the paddock long enough that they know they have the right connections to put themselves in those incredibly fun cars to drive. Ooh, a bit more of a wiggle from Gasho. Is Aiello going to take the lead off his teammate? It looks like it could be. The Renault wobbliness is going to be their undoing if they're not careful.
The glue that has held this friendly rivalry together almost undone by the wobbles that we've seen throughout. The sun beginning to set at Fuji and on this season.
Yeah, the track is almost entirely dry now, even offline. There's just going to be some tiny little patches of damp.
And there goes Webber.
Ooh, that's an interesting move.
Will there be a switchback? Well defended from Webber.
Wow. That was actually a very good move. I was expecting a crossover move, because if you go up the inside of that corner, it's very easy just to have a horrible exit, and that's the last corner you want to have a horrible exit at, considering the length of the straight that then comes after it. Here comes Aiello.
What will the times? Gasho with the fastest lap. Okay,
7.8,
no slipstream required.
Apparently not. And Aiello slots himself back in front, so yeah, it was well defended from Webber. Here he goes again. He's trying. He's certainly trying.
Battles to the last. There's 3 to go. Andrew Schneider was almost contemplating a look there. Coca-Cola corner.
Yeah, this is the section of track where the BMW is definitely has the advantage over the Renault, because of course it doesn't have the wobbliness. And it can hold its poise through corners a lot better. Schneider with a dive.
Speaking of,
And the other thing I was going to say was we know how good on the brakes BMW are. They're good at dive bombing in that regard.
But
Hello,
there
just
goes the
being a
Renault
bit
power.
roughhousey. Yeah, the Renaults have got very good acceleration and are one of the best for top speeds. They always have been, even before they put this big upgrade on the cars, and we got these new Megans with the bigger wings and things on them. Whoa, there's a lot of sideways. So yeah, Aiello's car is not behaving. It was working a couple of laps ago, and either something's gone off with the tyres
Another
or
dive
it's
bomb.
just
Different BMW, final turn. Schneider up to P3, cementing that, but we'll see what happens with the Renault acceleration.
yeah. I think the handling's gone off the handle for Aiello's car here.
Possibly.
We saw how much it was wiggling around through the complex there. He's got a good head of steam here going up on Schneider.
Another 3/10 off of the time being from Gasho in the lead.
Don't know if this is going to be enough to seal the deal through turn 1 because the Beamer is better on its brakes. But there goes Aiello. He sends it.
Corner
Schneider
cut,
hangs
perhaps.
tough around the outside. The wobble on, and there it goes.
Bailed out.
Yeah. Once again, the Renault wobbliness is its undoing.
Wittmann up to 5th.
Yeah, very lonely 5th place. Ekstrom 6th. Ingram 7th. So formation flying from Volvo. Fisichella's got himself into 8th. So he's finally moved himself through some of the traffic.
Wirtz there or thereabouts, and Suarez also there. Last sneaky hurrah, not a major fleeting farewell from these charcoal liveried, not the void of the Mazda, of course.
Yeah, Suarez's best finish this year has only been a 6th place.
Unfortunate.
It's been an absolutely horrible time for the driver that's showed such promise in his rookie season in the Honda, because of course that's where he started, was with Honda. Volkswagen saw that potential and snapped him up pretty quickly, only to...
Will Webber get the lead here? Down the inside. Okay.
Webber.
He'd rehearsed that earlier.
Yeah, Webber's got that move down pat, but Gasho is there. He's in the slipstream. It wouldn't surprise me if Gasho ends up back in the lead by turn 1.
Entertainment until the very last lap. Power down the straight. Gasho going to be back ahead, but the braking area inbound.
Now, the important thing to remember there, as we've got 1 lap left, is if Webber does that move again, Gasho can get a good exit and get in front of him before the line.
That's going to be a drag to the line. That'll be what we look forward to at the end of this lap then.
There's Webber again. He
down
wants
the inside.
A second win.
Back to the lead.
He wants a second win before this season is out.
He got greedy, and hopefully that pays off. Gasho down the inside of a Coca-Cola. Nope.
He may have lost the championship, but he still wants to prove that he's worthy of having car number 1 on the door.
A number 1 drive in the last race of the season, the last race of the World Super Touring Championship Season 4. Hairpin for the last time. Sun definitely over the horizon behind Mount Fuji. Schneider closing in on Aiello perhaps. Dive bomb for the Dunlop hairpin nice chicane. Nope, too far back still. Technical section left, and I think Gasho, if Gasho was ahead now, I think Webber would have dive bombed for the final turn. So I think, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, yeah. Wobble on.
That was what I was going to say. It all depends on if the Renault wobbliness rears its ugly head through these last couple of corners, or whether Gasho can keep it smooth, get a good run out of the last corner, and and then out drag the BMW to the line. Don't know if that's going to happen.
Give us the answer. Schneider dive bomb down the inside. It's going to be a drag for P2 then. It's going to be a drag race for P2, not the win. Webber gets one in the end, gets his second of the season. Schneider P2 currently, but where is that Renault? There it is. It's going to be a side-by-side across the line. The timing being Gasho gets P2 in the end. Schneider down to 3rd. Gasho still with the fastest lap, unless any of these stragglers manage to scrape those 2 points out of Gasho's hands. There's a metaphor. Ingram 7th. Volvo's rookie season better than they perhaps expected. We see Felix Riedel and Bianchi 17th and 18th. I know I've got hiccups, but Palou will want better from season 5. Kobayashi, well, taking it as it comes, as all 20 finishers complete what has been a very good season nonetheless. Obviously, we still can't resist comparing this to what happened yesterday with the Japanese Super Touring Championship. Also on the channel if you've missed out on that. Yeah, so we may as well round up exactly where the points are, having completed race 2. And as you can see, the rain came back in the end after proceedings. Wittmann on 356 points. That is a clear 51 points ahead of Fabrizio Fisichella. Alpha 1-2 in race 1. 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship with Aiello and Gasho 3rd and 4th. 291, 284. Jamie Wedder 283, rounding out the top 5. It was down to the 2 Renaults and the Alphas at the start of the weekend, but the pundits can be smug in the knowledge that they kind of called it, that Renault weren't going to do anything in that regard. Not only the drivers but also the teams. Manufacturers Constructor Championship, Alpha on 661 to the Renault on 575. BMW closing it on 549, could not snatch it in the end with all that battling in the final race of the season. DHL Rennsport, of course, with Duma and their own privateer team input there. Ekstrom on 191 as the rookie. The next best rookie being Kubica on 47. 191 to 47. That was never in doubt from his perspective. We're up in that hut there somewhere. We are trying to wave if you can't see us. Your thoughts on effectively the entirety of this World Championship season then, Swinny?
Yeah, very. Definitely some definitive storylines have come about. Renault with their utter domination of the first part of the season, and then completely falling off a cliff for the middle part of the season, and then mounting a tiny resurgence at the latter part of the season. It'll be interesting to see those cars with 3 and 4, 5 and 6 on them for next season. We haven't really seen Renaults with that lower number in a while. That'll be good to see. It will also be interesting to see what Bianchi and Wirtz can do with those cars, of course, in complete new driver lineup change there. Volvo, very good start to their multiple season campaign. I really hope they can build on this and mount a bit of a title charge next year, perhaps, maybe. Who knows? Alfa Romeo have got it all to do with defending. BMW will now have a bit of a chip on their shoulder because they're used to being the top dog. We've already covered that Honda are disappointed with their efforts, and Ford have got all of the work to do. Plus, we've got a whole host of rookies coming in for next season, so that's going to be interesting to look at as well in the privateer category.
We do look forward to that. And as you see at the top of the screen, we are surprised at that chaser. I genuinely thought there was going to be a Japanese entry, but word has it that there was no slots left. The collaboration of all these Middle Eastern collectors, they saw fit that they could do this as a world campaign. So that's going to be an entertaining notion, given I would say, we know it's fast, but the age of the thing is my biggest concern, because it did capitulate in the Japanese Championship after a fantastic start for Yuji Ide, former World Super Touring race winner. But yeah, Wittmann is going to be wearing the number 1 with pride, and a slight change in sponsor as well, but the liveries aren't going to change. But there, I don't think, and we look forward to that particular pre-season review. Swinny's going to get his drone cam out again. He'll be looking forward to using that once more. But we'll still try and keep you posted on what regional or national championship we will do. Given how entertaining the Japanese was, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm also kind of looking forward to how America copes with some kind of super touring with these vehicles alongside the V8 muscle. Um, Obviously, it'd be a two-tier championship there. That was confirmed a long time ago now. Also, keep an eye out for the onboard shots in the Euros. I think we're up to round 5 by now, even though that season has been decided with Liuzzi and the Hyundai getting the European title in. Um, Hyundai need Genesis in Japan. I wonder when, however unlikely they'll get into um, the world's. I mean, given the shape of the cars, the drive of the cars, there isn't a front wheel drive aspect there, is there? Not even the Veloster. I don't unless it's a front wheel drive iteration of the Veloster.
Yeah,
So any
if Hyundai wanted to join the World Series, they would have to ditch the Genesis Coupe car because it's a three-door coupe. An i30N would be applicable. A Veloster would also be applicable. It just depends on if they want to spend that extra money and develop those cars. Either way, we are happy to see him in the European Series.
okay, yeah, just like the Japanese championship, I didn't want that to end, but we're gonna have to end on this particular note. Um, on behalf of Michael Swinnerton, once again, Adrian Michael Rees, and we'll see you for next season, season 5 in the Worlds. It's been fascinating racing, everyone. See you soon.